Borthakur IAS Academy, an endeavor of excellence.
Borthakur IAS Academy.
Hello everyone, welcome to Borthakur's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. Today is 23rd of June and I'm here with another segment of Current Affairs 365. Here we will be discussing all the important news and updates for today. You can follow us on Facebook as well as Instagram for any other updates related to civil services examination as well as Assam State Services. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. So the first news of today is about the mandatory drone survey for all the national highway projects. The National Highway Authority of India, it has made the use of drones mandatory for video recording of the national highway projects during the different stages, which includes development, construction, operation and maintenance. All these videos will be saved in the data lake portal of the National Highway Authority of India. This process of introducing drone survey, it is going to enhance transparency, uniformity and will also leverage the latest technology. NHAI officials, they can use these videos during physical inspection of the projects to check any discrepancies and rectifications which will be made on the earlier observations. And since these videos will be permanently saved or stored in the data lake, they can also be used as evidence during dispute resolution process before the arbitral tribunals and courts. Also, the mandatory deployment of network survey vehicle in order to carry out road condition surveys on national highways, it is going to enhance the overall quality of all the highways. Coming to this portal known as Data Lake, the National Highway Authority of India, they have decided to go fully digital with this, with the launch of a cloud-based and artificial intelligence powered by the Big Data Analytics platform, which is under the Data Lake and Project Management software. And all the projects, documentation, contractual decisions as well as approvals will be done through this portal only. The data lake software, it will forecast the delays or likely disputes and also will give some advanced alerts. This data lake, it is going to bring about a revolutionary change to the works of National Highway Authority of India with benefits like no delays, quick decision making, no question of missing records or the advantage of working from anytime, anywhere. It is going to enhance the transparency as well as officers and stakeholders connection to the project, okay, who can see what is going on a real-time basis. This will help in carrying out audits by the senior officers and other external agencies. Now, this National Highway Authority of India, it was set up under the NHAI Act of 1988, which it was entrusted with the National Highways Development Project along with other minor projects for development, maintenance and management. It mainly maintains the national highways network to global standards in a cost-effective manner, which promotes economic well-being as well as quality of life of the people. The national highways, these are the major roads of India, okay? It includes all the national as well as state highways and they are built, financed and maintained by the central government. Whereas the state highways, they are developed by the respective state public works department. Coming to the constitutional provisions, then highways are declared by or under law made by Parliament to be national highways and it is under the union list of the 7th schedule. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, they are primarily responsible for development and maintenance of the national highways, and the national highways are in the country are notified under the National Highways Act of 1956. The aim of Green Highways Plantation, Transplantation, Beautification and Maintenance Policy of 2015 is to promote greening of the highway corridors with participation of the community, farmers, private sector, NGOs as well as the government institutions. The next news is about a passage exercise between India and US. The Indian naval ships, they are going to join this maritime patrol along with other aircrafts in a passage exercise with the US Navy's Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group during its transit through the Indian Ocean region. And a passage exercise is one that is normally undertaken whenever an opportunity arises. This is in contrast to any pre-planned maritime drills. And earlier the Indian Navy, they had also conducted similar passage exercises with the Japanese Navy as well as the French Navy. Now, coming to this particular passage exercise, Indian naval ships Kochi and Take, along with P-81 and MiG-29K, these are maritime patrol aircraft and Indian ship-based aircraft, they are going to participate in this exercise. And the Indian Navy warships along with aircraft from Indian Navy and Indian Air Force will be engaged in joint multi-domain operations with the US carrier Strike Group. Then the exercise is going to be conducted in the IAF's Southern Air Command's area of responsibility, and there the IAF forces will include Jaguars, Sukhoi 30 MKI fighters, then airborne warning and control system, etc. The impact of this particular exercise includes rule-based or establishment of rule-based order. It underscores the shared values as partner navies in ensuring commitment to an open, inclusive and a rule-based international order. Then this is going to increase the interoperability as well, as it will be enhancing the aspects of interoperability and all the nuances of international integrated maritime search and rescue operations, along with the exchange of best practices in the maritime air power domain. And then this will also act as a counter towards the China's expansionism. The exercise comes a week after the Indian Defence Minister called for an open and inclusive order in the Indo-Pacific region, including the South China Sea, at the 8th ASEAN Defence Ministers Plus meeting. This meeting, I have also discussed about this meeting in one of our previous analysis, okay? And the Indian Navy is going to carry out round-the-clock surveillance in the Indian Ocean region, which it believes that China will inevitably try to enter in its quest to become a global power. The other India-US joint exercises includes Vajra Prahar and Yudh Abhyas, both are army exercises. Then coming to the one with Air Force, it is named as Scope India. And there is another USA's multilateral air exercise, which is known as Red Flag. And lastly, the Malabar exercise. It is a trilateral naval exercise of India, USA and Japan. Now this news will be tagged under GS paper 3, and it is related to biodiversity and environment. This news talks about the recommendation made by UNESCO's World Heritage Committee, which has decided to list Australia's Great Barrier Reef in the list of endangered under World Heritage Sites. The placement on this endangered list is not considered as a sanction, but some nations, they have their sites added to this in order to gain some international attention, and which will help them to save those sites. It was recommended to add to the list because of the impact of climate change, and despite of Reef 2050, which is a long-term sustainability plan in the Australian and Queensland government, okay. But the coral reef ecosystem, it has suffered 3 major bleaching events since the year 2015 due to severe marine heat waves. Now these heat waves, they are event of anomalous water surface, sea surface temperature, which can last from several days to years. Coming to the phenomenon of coral bleaching, when corals, they face some stress, environmental stress like change in conditions as temperature, light or nutrients, what they do, they expel the symbiotic algae known as zooxanthellae, which lives in their tissues. And this expulsion, it causes them to turn completely white. And this process is known as coral bleaching. This process has prompted the environmental groups to take aim at the Australian government's reluctance in order to take some stronger climate action. Australia, which is one of the world's largest carbon emitters per capita, it has remained reluctant to commit to any stronger climate change actions, okay, and has cited jobs as a major reason to back the country's fossil fuel industries. And because of that, it has not updated its climate goals also since the year 2015. Coming to the Great Barrier Reef, it is the world's most extensive and spectacular coral reef ecosystem, which is composed of over 2,900 individual reefs and 900 islands. The reef is located in the Coral Sea off the coast of Queensland, Australia. It can be seen from outer space and is the world's biggest single structure made by living organisms. And this reef structure, it is composed of and built by billions of tiny organisms, which are known as coral polyps. These polyps, they have microscopic algae called zooxanthellae who live within their tissues, and the corals as well as these algae, they have a mutualistic or symbiotic relationship. It was selected as a World Heritage Site in the year 1981. Some other initiatives which are related to protection of corals includes the International Coral Reef Initiative, Global Coral Reef Monitoring Network, Global Coral Reef Alliance, as well as the Global Coral Reef Research and Development Accelerator Platform. Similarly, the Ministry of Environment and Forests and Climate Change of India has included studies on coral reefs under the Coastal Zone Studies. In India, the Zoological Survey of India, with the help of Gujarat's Forest Department, it is now attempting a process to restore coral reefs using the technology known as mineral acceleration or biorock. Also, the National Coastal Mission Program, it has been working to protect and sustain the coral reefs in our country. The largest coral reef area of the world includes Indonesia, then India, Maldives, Sri Lanka and Chagos. They have maximum coral reefs in South Asia, and also the Great Barrier Reef of Indonesia has the largest coral reef area in the world. Then India, Maldives, Sri Lanka and Chagos, they have the maximum coral reefs in South Asia. The Great Barrier Reef of Queensland coast of Australia is the largest aggregation of coral reefs. So these areas have the largest population of coral reef in the world. India has 4 coral reef areas. They include the Gulf of Mannar, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, then Lakshadweep Islands and the Gulf of Kutch. The major benefits includes protection from natural calamities. Then they provide revenue and employment through tourism and recreation, and also they provide habitats for fishes, starfish and sea anemones. These coral reefs, they are used as jewelry. Coral blocks are used for buildings and road constructions, and also the lines supplied by corals are used in cement industries. Major threats here are due to anthropogenic activities like coastal development, then destructive fishing methods and pollution from domestic and industrial sewage. Also due to increased sedimentation, overexploitation and recurring cyclones. Coral disease such as black band and white band due to infectious microorganisms introduced by human population is also another major threat. However, the mangrove forests, they play a crucial role in helping the coral reef system by acting as filters and providing protection from natural calamities like cyclones, storms as well as tsunamis. The next news is an important, fact-based news for prelims. Recently, 8 captive-bred pygmy hawks, the world's largest and smallest wild pig variety, they were released in the Manas National Park of Assam. And this is going to be the second batch which has been reintroduced into the wild under the program known as Pygmy Hawk Conservation Program. So this program is important because it is a collaboration among the Durrell Wildlife Conservation Trust of UK, Assam Forest Department, Wild Pig Specialist Group of the IUCN and the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This program is being implemented by the NGOs Aranyak and Ecosystems India. The conservation of pygmy hawk, it was initiated by the noted naturalist known as Gerald Durrell and his trust in the year 1971. Pygmy hawk, it was brought back from a stage of near extinction by this partnership effort, and now they are moving towards the establishment of a population across the entire range. And initially in the year 1996, 6 pygmy hawks were captured from the Banswari range of the Manas National Park for starting this breeding program. And the reintroduction program, it started in around 2008 with Sonai Rupai Wildlife Sanctuary, Orang National Park and the Bornodi Wildlife Sanctuary. All of them are in Assam. And this program also plans to release about 60 pygmy hawks in Manas by the year 2025. Its scientific name is Porcula salvania, and it is one of the very few mammals that can build its own home or nest with a complete roof. This is also known as an indicator species. It means that its presence reflects the health of its primary habitat, which is tall, wet grasslands of the region. And once it was found along a narrow strip of tall and wet grassland plains on the Himalayan foothills, but today it is mainly found in a small population in Assam. Coming to its protection status, it has been listed as endangered in the IUCN Red List, and it falls under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. The major threats towards pygmy hawks include loss of grassland or habitat and degradation of the same, along with illegal hunting. So with this, we have come to an end of today's session. I hope you will like this video and it will be helpful for you all. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll see you all again tomorrow with another session of Current Affairs 365 only on Borthakur's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. Till then, take care, keep learning. Bye-bye.
বৰঠাকুৰ IAS একাডেমি প্ৰস্তুতি আৰু অধ্যয়নৰ নিৰ্ভৰযোগ্য ঠিকনা
বৰঠাকুৰ IAS Academy